Hey friend, and welcome back to the channel. Today is part 3 of my BRCA journey, and I am filming something today that I never thought I would have to film, and that is the journey of my bilateral biopsies. If you've been following along, or if you haven't, in part 1, I shared about my BRCA gene testing. So there are 2 different BRCA genes. They could have mutations, and they deal primarily with breast cancer as well as other cancers, but I was in this game seeking information about breast cancer. And then in part 2, I walked you through my initial mammogram process and why we needed to add an ultrasound to the mix. And now we're here. In today's video, my goal is to share my personal journey, but included in that are why I needed a biopsy, the difference between mammograms and ultrasounds, specifically when it comes to breast health, what my biopsy experience was like, how I'm recovering, and maybe the most important and definitely the most challenging, how I am managing my mindset while I wait for the results. And just to be very clear, I am not a doctor. I am sharing my personal lived experience so that if you are going through this, or you've been through this, or you're supporting someone who is, that you feel a little less alone. If you're new here, hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm a teacher, bariatric coach, and your bariatric godmother around these parts. I help women create sustainable success after weight loss surgery, not just for the initial 6 months, but for life. So if that's your vibe, please subscribe. Let's do a quick recap. Because of my personal journey to see if I could aesthetically get my breasts lifted, not altered, but lifted, I underwent BRCA gene testing in early 2025. And the good news is I am not a carrier of either genetic mutation for the BRCA gene, but because of my family history, my breast cancer rates are higher than the average woman in America. And due to that, and just turning 40, my doctors keep me on a pretty tight screening schedule. So this time around, I went in for a mammogram, and well, it just wasn't conclusive enough. I learned after my first mammogram and after my breast health course that my breast tissue is very dense. I fall into the C range, and you could only be an AB, C, or D. C or D tends to be the denser breast tissue. This is totally common. More than 50% of American women experience dense breast tissue, but it also means that your mammograms are harder to read. So we added an ultrasound, which gave my doctors a different angle. But unfortunately, what both the doctor and the radiologist saw still raised some red flags, enough so that I was recommended for a bilateral biopsy. Bilateral in this case simply means that they were biopsying both sides. Let's pause for a quick explainer, because before undergoing this, I hadn't really thought about the difference between a mammogram and an ultrasound. A mammogram is essentially an X-ray of the breast. It is in black and white, which is why having dense breast tissue makes it hard to spot any calcifications. Mammograms can be effective, but with dense breast tissue, it can make it hard to see what's really going on. An ultrasound does in fact use sound waves without radiation. And it's especially good at telling if something is fluid-filled or solid. Sorry if that's gross. This is often the next step when a mammogram is unclear. And in my case, the mammogram alone was not enough on multiple occasions. The ultrasound gave us more info, but also confirmed that there were things going on that the doctor and radiologist were not pleased with. And that's when the biopsy became the next step. I would say that I took the news from the radiologist well in the moment, but hearing the words, "we need to do a biopsy," is startling. It's a shocking thing to hear, especially after your very first round of mammograms. Even when your rational brain says this doesn't mean cancer, the emotional brain says, well, what if it does? What if it is? And I had questions. I had questions right away. I wanted to know about my pain and recovery levels. Is this going to be a local anesthesia, or do I need someone to come with me so that way I have someone to drive me home? How long does this take? Is this an outpatient procedure? And I will say that the team here at Falmouth Hospital, I live on Cape Cod, so I am only a stone's throw away from Boston should I ever need to be there. But the Falmouth Hospital radiologist and the nurse team were fantastic, and they answered every single one of my questions and sat with me until I was satisfied with my answers. It was explained to me that this would be a core needle biopsy that would be done in 2 separate ways. One under mammogram, one breast under mammogram, and the other one via ultrasound. It's local anesthesia, which means that, and this, if you're shot averse, I'm sorry, don't listen to this part, fast forward 30 seconds. It means that the needles go directly into the site rather than you being put under with anesthesia. It's probably safer to have the local option, which means that I was capable of driving myself home, but Mark came with me. Both breasts would require multiple samples, and then I would be re-mammogrammed gently and sent on my way home. So to prepare, I did a few things. One, I showered the night before because I was told by one of the nurse practitioners that I might not want to or be able to comfortably raise my arms over my shoulder level, and that I wouldn't be able to shower for minimally 48 hours. So I washed my hair, I blow dried my hair the night before. I also wore a sports bra as opposed to an underwire bra to the appointment, and they advised me to take extra strength Tylenol. I can't take Advil, but extra strength Tylenol prior to the appointment to help with some of the pain management. Additionally, I brought someone with me. I brought my husband with me. Otherwise, I would have brought my mom just to be there as kind of a support guide. And the night before, I did a fair amount of journaling because that's how I like to process my own feelings. I like to write out the what ifs, and this may not help you, but I think for me, writing out all of this, the ways that this could go right and wrong, helps me feel some type of control over the situation. And it gives me a game plan that even if the news comes back negative, I have a next action step, and that makes me feel better. Okay, so what was this really like? When I got there, the staff was warm and kind directly from the beginning, which really helps. Shout out nurse coordinator Kathy for being the exact right person for this job. She was calm, she was kind of quiet. Her job is to coach you through this process, and she does so beautifully. I started with the right breast in the mammography room, and the machine came down from above. So I was directed not to look at what was going on, and it wasn't done laparoscopically because that's not the correct definition of laparoscopic, but it was done by machinery. The doctor, Dr. Kassman, here at Falmouth Hospital, he did the local anesthesia. He put in a needle. He said there would be a pinch. That's besides your breast being in the mammogram, this guy, which is tight and uncomfortable. The pinch here was the part that hurt the most because your breast is already compressed. So he put in a little bit of numbing medicine, let that sit for 30 seconds, and then went in with a deeper numbing medication before putting in the metal straw. We'll get to that. I was also sitting down. During my other mammograms, I was standing up, but I was in a wide chair sitting down, and they made me wear oxygen. I wasn't a super fan of that. I don't like things up my nose. It felt itchy, but Kathy told me, nurse friend Kathy said that sometimes when your breast is really deeply compressed, it can be hard to take a full breath. We don't want you panicking. The metal straw is in fact not the size of a metal straw. It's teeny tiny, but it guides the machine toward where the calcifications are being pulled out. The part that was uncomfortable was the clicking and kind of the tearing noise of getting those samples out. It didn't hurt per se, but I could hear it. I still have my steri strips on because it hasn't been a full week yet. And I will say that I think because that this was done in a mammogram as opposed to in an ultrasound, this side bled more. So after, I know they took 12 core samples because I could see it on the machine. I did look at that part. Sorry, Kathy. After that, they apply pressure with ice to stop the bleeding, and then they re-mammogrammed this same breast immediately, where they put in clips, titanium clips. Now live in my breast because I'm a bionic woman. I won't set off any metal detectors, and I'm allergic to nickel, so they made sure not to use anything nickel to make sure that the clips were in the right place. And the purpose of the clips is that should anything ever come up again on a mammogram, they know that they've already been to this area before. It's basically in order to track the biopsy site later if needed. Honestly, that part freaked me out a little bit at first, like having a foreign substance inside my body, but I don't feel it, I didn't notice it going in, and I'm not having an adverse reaction. After that, I went into a waiting room to wait for the second team to be ready because it's an entirely different nursing staff, same doctor, for my left breast, which was in the ultrasound. This was much easier. I laid down on a table, I put my left arm above my head, that went numb immediately. The numbing shots were easier because my breast wasn't compressed. This part was all done manually. I literally closed my eyes for this part, not because I was uncomfortable, but because I had nothing else to do, nowhere to go, and I was quite relaxed despite being in the hospital. So I don't know how many samples they took from this side. This was very much the side of my breast. This one is the one that's a little more sensitive when wearing a regular underwire bra now. And then after that, I was able to stand, have this breast re-mammogram to make sure that the clips were in place properly. The radiologist looked at all of the materials to make sure that my clips were in place, and then I was sent home. The whole process took about 2.5 to 3 hours. Emotionally, there was a mix here. Part of it was gratitude. I'm so grateful for the kindness, the empathy, the warmth of the teams, women and men who I was able to receive treatment from, and I'm grateful to be monitored so closely. And the other side of this, I think naturally, was fear. Biopsy equals unknown. I work very hard to have such an intentional day, an intentional future, and I can't control this. So I journaled, I focused on my breathing and what I can control, and that calmed me. I was able to ask all of my questions. I looked up questions in advance. I used ChatGPT to help me to ask everyone who ever asks you in the hospital, do you have any questions? And you're so overwhelmed that you say, no. I brought them written down in my beautiful new planner. And afterwards, when I came home, I actually laid outside in the sun for a little while. That felt really nice. I expected that once the Tylenol and the numbing medication wore off, that I would be in pain. And the reality is that I was sore, but totally manageable with Tylenol and ice packs. Hi, I am home from my bilateral biopsies, where we did one side mammogram, one side ultrasound. I know that in the video I'm going to go into the process of what both entailed. I'm not on any, I'm not on any anesthesia of any kind. It was all localized. That has not yet worn off. Right now I'm kind of like in that process of waiting for the pain to set in, but I was prepped to take extra strength Tylenol prior to arrival. The whole procedure from check-in until check-out was around 2.5 to 3 hours. But it did feel like it was going by rather quickly. So I wanted you, I know I'm going to explain everything in the video, but I wanted you to like see me so that you know that if you're experiencing this and you're coming home from this type of procedure, that you're not coming home loopy. I am tired, but I don't think that has anything to do with the procedures itself. I mean, sure, I think undergoing any type of pain is going to make you more tired than not, but I'm home. I'm not allowed to lift anything over 5 pounds. Mark is home with me. I am about to edit. I'm uploading footage right now to do so. I specifically left myself work fairy tale coaching related tasks for today and tomorrow while I'm in recovery. So that way I'm somebody who, when I'm in pain, I need to like put my effort somewhere else. So I left tasks that are things I like to do, like editing, like caption writing for social media, my weekly love letter creation, nothing strenuous, etc. And if I'm feeling up to it, I may actually film tomorrow. So I'm gonna plan some outfits for Disney. That video is coming up. Make sure you're subscribed. So yeah, I'm home. I have more sports bra on. Right now I have bandages on top of steri strips. My ice packs are refreezing in the fridge. And then I'm gonna keep those in and on as long as I can because I want to make sure I can decrease the swelling and the inevitable bruising. So yeah. I wore a sports bra for the first 2 to 3 days. I was able to sleep in a bed, though I had to keep kind of pillows around the areas to keep it comfortable. I wasn't allowed to lift anything over 5 pounds. So I was told that I could lift a coffee cup and a credit card. And I relaxed. I took it easy for 2.5 days and bounced back and feel like myself again. I expected deep bruising. I'm a pretty easy bruiser after weight loss surgery, and I didn't have any. The bigger challenge right now is the waiting. As I'm filming this with you, thank you for letting me talk this through and talk about it. I don't have results yet. And I know that there's higher chances of this being benign and nothing, right? That so many women go through biopsies and it's just not a big deal. And I don't understand how we're not talking more about this as a society. As a newly, freshly 40-year-old woman, I feel like this should not be the norm for the expectation of our healthcare. Like, we need to do better with the types of procedures that could actually identify things clearly from the beginning, like an ultrasound. Mammograms aren't that helpful as a machine on their own, at least for 50% of the population of women. Physically, I'm healing very quickly. Emotionally, I am going through the process of figuring out my control issues, which I've been doing for years, right, since weight loss surgery, but also looking at this bigger picture of what does it mean to be a 40-year-old woman in American healthcare system. And I do get to meet with a team to go over my results because this has not been a straight linear line from turning 40 to ending up with bilateral biopsies within 6 months. So that's helpful. And I'm prepared with my questions, whether the news is positive or not. And that's where my mindset comes into play. And I've seen so much growth because now I'm thinking I did the right thing. And I'm now just waiting for what's next. What's my next step? Right now, those next steps are my pathology results, which I will share with you as soon as I have them. Once those are in, we'll know if something is benign, if something needs monitoring, or whatever the next step is after that. If you're going through this too, I want to share with you that these are the things I've learned during this process, because I always try to look at whatever is happening for me in my life as an opportunity. And this is an opportunity to learn more about women's healthcare. 1, ask every single question that you have. Nothing is too small. You're not an expert. You're not expected to know information, whether it's about your own body or not, in a field that you don't know about. Use ChatGPT, ask your questions. Bring support, preferably in person. If you need to be on the phone or FaceTime, that's okay too. Number 3 is to plan something comfortable for yourself afterwards. I would have loved to get into a bubble bath, but I'm not allowed to do that yet. I'm not allowed to saturate this area. So that was out of the question. Is there a favorite meal that you could have, a takeout meal? Is there a cozy blanket or a show on Netflix or a streaming service that you've been meaning to watch? Is there a journaling session that you'd like to do while lighting a candle? What could be relaxing for you? Maybe a face mask at home, do something nice for yourself. And I want you to remember, and I'm reminding myself of this too, that a biopsy doesn't equal cancer. It only equals clarity. My mantra has been, this is about clarity, not catastrophizing. Thank you for being with me here on this journey. I know this is not an easy, fun topic. Sharing it makes me feel less alone, and I hope that it does the same for you. If you've had a biopsy or you're facing one, I'd love to chat with you in the comments so that we can support each other. I'm linking parts 1 and 2 of this series below, the series that I didn't want to make below. And if you found this helpful, will you please like this video? Will you share and subscribe? I know you're watching and you haven't hit that red button. I look at my analytics. Subscribe. And if you hate me after the next video, you can unsubscribe. I want to be able to keep you posted on my results and what comes next. Plus, I do have some other actual fun videos coming up, including a trip to Disney. Take care of your health. Take care of your heart. I love you, and I will see you soon. Goodbye, my beautiful friend.